Well, hello there. My name is HW.
And I'm Stu G.
And Stu, we've got a new pack.
We have, and I'm very excited about it.
Yeah, it's the Stu G's Gioverb.
Yeah.
And it covers your Trem-o-verb amp.
That's right, yeah. So, it's been a real surprise because, it's been a nice surprise rediscovering this amp.
Yeah.
And it was an amp that I got in '96 when we made the King of Fools album.
Yeah.
And so when we get to the performances, most of the performances are from King of Fools.
Yeah.
And in the pack we have a dual profile, which is the Trem-o-verb.
Trem-o-verb.
Yeah, so that really kind of came into existence around the time of World Service. So we've got a song of World Service in the performance as well. But what's surprising about this amp is, when I think about Mesa rectifier amps, I'm thinking about metal and Foo Fighters and like the rock stuff, and it's amazing to me how versatile this amp is.
It is very versatile.
We've got like everything from clean blues on the clean scale to like vintage high gain, modern high gain. So the gamut is there. But what is amazing to me about these profiles is how tweakable they are. Yeah. And how sometimes like with the AC30s and with the Arsenal, like the character of the amp is always there.
Sure.
With this one with the Gioverb, it's kind of you can make it into something that you want.
It's a canvas. You can sculpt it. You can put different colors on it. They're definitely versatile amps, and in shooting these profiles, we tried to capture everything it does.
Yeah, the thing that when I got this amp, I was predominantly using my Les Paul and my Telly, and they're very different in terms of the output that comes out of the pickups. We've got humbuckers and single coils, right?
Yeah.
So there is a jump between the two, and so on the profiles though, it's amazing how high gain and gainy you can make a Telly sound.
That's true. Yeah.
And so like my invitation to people really is to like make these their own. Sure. And play around with the EQ, play around with the gains, and until you find the things, like we've presented what I like, but it's so tweakable that this amp really is for everyone.
Yeah, I think there's everything here from like these pushed blues, kind of dirty cleans, overdrive thing. There's some really great pop cleans. Yeah. Because you run your compressor pretty hefty. It really grabs and pulls. Yeah. And it's almost like it reminds me of that the Dan Armstrong orange, kind of compressor feel. Yep. That vintagey feel.
I like that sound.
Yeah. And so that with the cleans on this amp really give you a nice pop sort of clean sound. It's funny, it's a lot of the clean sound that you have on Delirious Records, which is very much back in fashion now in pop music. That's sort of good. These like just strong, kind of big compressed cleans that you can just hear very even, in the mix. Show us some of these profiles. Maybe we'll look at a couple of them and just get an idea for some of the tones.
Sure. So I've got like a blues one here. So we actually created one called Blues 0.5 too, which is just a real cleaner version of the Blues 1. But this is Blues 1, right? So you can hear that's got some push to it, So here's the 0.5. And you can hear that kind of King of Fools sound on there already, but that sound goes all the way up to a Blues 3, which is really like the solo sound for that. So so even the clean sounds, like when on the Trem-o-verb. When you push them, they go dirty, but and so we captured that.
Yeah, and it's sort of a tweedy. It reminds me of like a Fender tweed style. Yeah, in the character of the breakup, these blues profiles.
Yeah, that's right, and
big warm cleans with a push mid range. All right, show us a couple other sounds.
Yeah. And I didn't go to town with like big ambient washes on this because I didn't have that back in the day.
Right.
So I wanted to kind of present it like I would have used it in the 90s, right?
Right.
But it doesn't mean that you can't put your favorite ambient
Sure.
verbs. And in fact, if I put my telly on,
Yeah.
and with a little more gain. So yeah, and then we put some stomps on there. So I kind of like programmed the green screen to sound a little bit like my full drive.
Yeah.
And I put the mouse in there to kind of sound a little bit like my kill.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. I love that compressor. I really do. It's a little stronger than I would dial it in, but then when I hear it, I go, oh, wow. It just grabs and...
It does grab it nicely, doesn't it?
It does.
The thing I do though is I don't have it at full
mix.
Full mix, So I still have the attack in there.
Yeah.
And partly because, when I was experimenting with, back in the day we only had the Dynacomp in the studio. And Martin and I used to share that. and
there's no mix
that
control.
grabs everything, right?
Yeah.
And so it's got that real heavy deal, and so you could never use it with a humbucking guitar because it just didn't work. So when I discovered the tone press by Barber, and when it had a mix on it, that was when I started to figure out that I could use like the humbuckers with it, and it just kind of adds that little bit of sustain to it, and kind of, I don't know, just keeps that level awesome.
No, that's super. There's a reason all these new compressors have mix controls. They're super usable.
Yeah.
It's really great. Let's hear some of the vintage high gain and modern high gain.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a high gain guy myself, but I really like this vintage high gain sound.
So this is the vintage high gain 1. Put the Les Paul on the vintage high gain 1, and you've got Promise off King of Fools.
Oh. Yeah.
So it sounds so awesome.
It does.
Yeah.
What does it sound like? It's not. It sounds vintagey, but it sounds like a Mesa.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. It has a generic thing to it. That isn't quite so kind of vintage classic.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It's not Marshall-y.
No.
It's much more 90s.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? That sound got popular. Yeah.
But it's so tight. That's what I love about it. And if we can, so this is vintage high gain 3.
It's funny when you play stuff like that. If you play something that is a little Brian May-esque, it can almost pass as that. You know what I mean? That just a singing lead tone with enough like sort of high end, even though it's a very different thing, it can sort of serve that same purpose.
It does.
You know what I mean?
And these are pretty bright pickups. These are the third power mag frags.
Yeah.
Which I love them because they're just so clear on every string. But if if this profile is too bright for you, just dial it down because it sounds awesome. Like the EQ works so well on these.
Yeah, and there's no compressor on this. That's just all the sustain from the amp.
Totally.
And it's quiet.
Yeah.
And it's not like, you know,
So if we compare that with oh my gosh, I can't do that. Oh yeah. If we compare that with the modern high gain. You know, so that's modern high gain 1.
A little sharper on the high end, less of the like sort of mids. It's a little just less vintagey.
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
yeah.
And so on Revival Town with the telly, I used the modern high gain for that solo, and I would just kind of switch it in on the amp switch. Yeah, the modern high gain gets really gainy.
Yeah, modern high gain 4.
Right.
That's a big one.
There it is. Yeah, that's as far as we dared go.
Yeah, we didn't go any further, and that was pretty high up there.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't get it really. You get to a certain point, it's just sort of increasing the saturation, increasing the sustain.
Yeah.
And it's most useful for lead stuff, I think. I mean, you can of course do heavier rhythm stuff. It's pretty tight too.
Yeah.
It's you definitely can get the chugga chugga you know kind of thing on with this for sure. Let's see. You're really partial to the Trem-o Park.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, so I used the Trem-o Park on the performance of Inside Outside, which is off World Service, and this is the very combination, the exact combination of amps that I used, the Trem-o-verb and the Park, in the studio, and I mean,
it sounds just like the record.
It does sound just like the record, yeah. So we've got a little bit of delay on here, we've got a little bit of compression, but. You know, and so I'm in the in-between pickup setting here on the Les Paul.
Sure. And
again, you know, like people can use this for other things, obviously, and just kind of tailor the gain or the EQ. I really can't stress enough like how great this pack is for making the sound into what you want.
Boosting the mids.
Yeah.
Pulling the treble and the presence up and down.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's totally usable like that. So anyway, and on the bridge, this is the Trem-o Park 2, but we have we profiled it with the kilt in front of it.
Yeah.
And so this is the bridge section of Inside Outside, where it's got the Trem-o Park with the kilt, but then I've put like a harmonizer on it.
Yeah.
I know, it sounds awesome, doesn't it?
It does. It really does.
And you know, for the line after that kind of solo, I used the harmonizer again, but just the octave up this time. So it's sweet, that. You know. And then at the end of that song, this just goes to show how versatile it is. At the end of Inside Outside, Martin was playing a Gretsch Tennessean, and with like this tape delay that really had a lot of wobble on it, right? And so I kind of like recreated that just to see if I could.
Sure.
But obviously, you know, I'm not going to change guitars halfway through the chorus, right?
So you've got to make this sound more
like
this
sound like that, yeah. I think that's amazing.
Yeah, actually, that is really amazing. Yeah. It's really impressive how close it sounds. That sounds and has that that compressed, lobbed off low end and really that mid-range honk of like a Filtertron.
Yeah,
yeah.
No, that's
play
right.
that. Play that one more time.
Yeah.
That's really. If I close my eyes, I might believe this is a Filtertron.
Yeah. And I did that by going into the cabinet settings and adjusting the low shift.
Yeah, taking the low end out. And wow.
Yeah.
Hey, that is something that you can do with a Kemper that you can't do with all pieces of gear.
No,
you know what I mean?
It's
you really have to. You'd have to jump to an EQ on the mic and figure out how to. I mean, it'd be very difficult.
Or switch cabs or something.
Yeah,
it's
completely.
Crazy. So I'm really, really proud of it, and with all of these performances, I wanted to get them as close as possible to the original recordings on King of Fools and on this one on World Service, and it's amazing how they sound.
Yeah, they sound
great. It takes
great.
you right back.
It really does.
Yeah.
I'm really excited. I love the effects you put on here. I love this little line, just even the the octave effect that's in here.
Yeah.
Ba-na-na-na-na,
Yeah.
It's just really musical stuff.
Yeah.
And this pack sounds great. And they can see a whole bunch of performance videos that are coming out in the next day or two.
Yeah.
And there's some really great sounds in there.
Yeah, let me show on a song called Promise.
Yeah.
So this is one that we use the vintage high gain stuff on.
Okay.
And pretty much there's like 2 sounds in the song, right?
Yeah.
We've actually got 3 presets, which I'll show you the third one in a minute. But you've got like a main rhythm, which was just the Les Paul and the Trem-o-verb. So you can hear I've got like a little bit of spring reverb just for to add depth in the room. And so that's kind of like, I was playing the verses and the choruses on that. The solo, which is like a higher gain version of the vintage high gain. And then, but right at the end, there's this really fun thing where I'm kind of like falling down an arpeggio, and I had an MXR Phase 90 that I bought in America and took home to England around the time that we did that Sanctified video in Wembley Stadium. I just bought that around then, and so the Phase 90 is on loads of records, loads of songs that we did back in the day, and this is one of them, and but also like with a kind of filtered delay as well, which I was using the Line 6 DL4 at the time. But so this is the end of Promise, the sound that we've got. Kind of nice, nice awesome. And psychedelic.
Yeah,
so.
It's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge sounding, and it's so deep. You almost miss the notes at first, that it's an arpeggio, and then you sort of start to hear the notes come back in. You just hear this.
Yeah,
that's a cool effect for sure.
Yeah,
I think phaser, and we did a video a little while back. That the rotary speaker, I think, are 2 underused effects on Sunday morning.
I agree.
That with all the modulation and stuff that people do, and vibrato's gotten popular again. I think phaser and the rotary speaker, a proper rotary lead, are going to get their time in the sun again. Yeah.
So talking of phaser, I just want to show you this profile, which is from Revival Town.
Yeah.
That we have the phaser, but like it's way cleaner.
Sure.
So there's a song called Revival Town off King of Fools, and So yeah, talking of phaser, I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
beautiful.
And then we clean it up for the pre.
Yeah.
And then the chorus is just that, but just a little bit brighter and a little bit more gainy. And yeah,
these performances are lessons in how to create texture.
Right.
Because if you listen to this song, and there's a Revival Town video that we did along with the track and everything, and you can hear how that phaser up front gets used to like make a very big pad sound underneath the vocal.
Yeah.
And then by the time you get to the chorus, you know, it's Martin singing, the percussion is kind of the driving thing, and your arpeggio, it gives it a, you know, like this kind of, you know, head bobbing feel, as opposed to the, you know, trying to make the guitar be a big
big pad. Yeah. Yes. So it is a pad in that beginning, but then, you know. Yeah, absolutely. So well, thanks for saying that. But so something I'm really excited about, and this could probably be a tips and tricks video in the future. But you helped me figure out how to turn the volume pedal into the wah pedal.
Into the wah when you want it. Yeah.
So there's this. So verse 2 of Revival Town has a cleaner kind of. It has, you know, there's two guitar parts going on. One is there's a clean version of this kind of. I got a message to bring. I gotta do. That's kind of in the background, just doing diamonds.
Right.
And then there's another guitar part that's just going. Yeah, and I was trying to figure out like how do I need another expression pedal?
Right.
And you were like, no, I think we can do this. And so
there's a cool trick in the Kemper where you can convert your volume into a wah pedal for certain sounds, and anytime you click it on and click it off, and then if you go to another sound or another rig with no wah, it just immediately goes back to your volume.
Yeah,
and it makes total sense, because when do you need your how often are you swelling in an already wah'd sound?
Yeah, that's
you kind of need one or the other.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so that's brilliant. So very useful. And so that's a combination of the wah and the phaser.
Yeah, speaking of textures, what a great just sort of using the wah. You might not even guess it's a wah. It just comes across like a filtered sound.
Yeah,
you know?
That's something that I did a lot actually. Mm-hmm. So I would always have my wah. This isn't like typical, I don't think, but I used to have my wah after my overdrives because I wanted the effect of it, like doing big filters rather than
sweeps.
Yeah, rather than kind of using it like a. Like shaft.
Yeah.
Or shaft.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. Up front is probably more vocal.
Right.
And it makes it more sound like a voice, like you can really hear the wah, wah, wah.
Yeah.
But in the back, you're getting the frequency, the sweep is not being contained by the frequency, or the cutoffs, the high and low of any overdrive or any other pedals.
That's right.
So you're getting, that opportunity to get those filtered, really dark or really hollow sounding like this, kind of that hollow sounding thing.
Yeah.
It's super funky.
Yeah.
It's really,
is.
Yeah, I would guess it's like a filter that someone put on, like some sort of a weird EQ filter effect.
Yeah, and then when it gets to the bridge and on the solo stuff, on the bridge really, there's not really a solo on here, but we've used the modern high gain. So one of my inspirations for that part was listening to the Bends and Radiohead, and just kind of like, where there's not really solos, but there's just this massive.
I love that part too, because it almost takes on the quality of like there being two guitar parts where there's one.
Right.
How you're really leaning on the low end and then you hit the high strings.
Yeah.
And it it's like another guitar instrument, sounds
Yeah,
off,
because like, I go into like a chordal rundown. Yeah, so it's amazing how that sort of cleans up enough to hear those notes.
That's awesome. These are some sweet tones. I hope people download these and kind of really take a look at the effects section. Even like on that one, you were using the EQ.
Yeah.
In the X block.
Yeah, actually, so that's one of yours.
Yeah.
So that I really love. That's your take on the
cut the mix, and it's a great one. And sometimes I tell people just turn that on if you can't hear yourself. But it really can help you jump out for a part, Yeah, I really love that.
Yeah,
that's a good one. That is a really good one. Well, I hope people get in there, look at what you're doing and all these effects, because there really is. There's a whole library of sort of effects knowledge if you start looking at the sounds and everything, and people they can use them in so much stuff.
Yeah, no, that's right. And we've got a couple of versions of the profiles there with the kill and the full drive on. So like even the clean channel, we have the clean channel with the full drive and the kill in there profiled, and they sound really good. So my thing is, this is very specific to those Delirious songs, and I want to try and recreate that, like not just for nostalgia's sake, but to remember that it can be simpler than what we've made it. Like guitar playing and sound can be simpler than what we've kind of created it to be. But at the end of the day, don't be put off if something's like too aggressive or something, because there's something in here for every player.
Yeah.
And you can swap the effects out for your favorite ambient verbs and delays. And so my challenge is to kind of like, let's start using like a rectifier on a Sunday.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Don't bring in the full stack.
Right.
Just bring the Kemper profiles, right? Then no one will know. Right.
That's right.
Well, that's awesome. These sound great. You can check them out at the Tone Junkie store, obviously, and there's some freebies floating around out there and some emails and some stuff. So try them out. There's some killer profiles. Some of the profiles, like the Trem-o Park, that one with some of the effects that we showed, should be floating around out there. So check that out. And Stu, why don't you play us one of those iconic riffs, and I'll let you play us out.
Okay.